Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the GammaRay Report. My name is Rose GammaRay. I'm an aerospace engineering professional and a lifelong space and science nerd. And my goal on this channel is to take fascinating science and explain it in a way that's accessible and engaging for our audience and helps make you look at the world and the universe a little bit differently. I'm joined once again by my incredible sister, Goldie GammaRay, for the third live stream on my channel. Welcome, Goldie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So excited to have you. How was your day?
Busy, very busy when it comes to geopolitics and, everything happening in the Middle East. So I'm actually super thrilled to be here right now because I get to just like space out and just chill
Yeah,
and enjoy, a very interesting documentary that is kind of a controversial topic in science, right? I deal with controversial topics all the time, Rose. It's part of my job and part of like what I do. But there's not a lot of things that are super controversial in science, but this one is for some reason. And
yeah.
I'm excited to talk about it because I'm totally team Pluto. Like I'm totally team Pluto.
Okay, so already letting the audience know where you stand. So we got a team Pluto right here, and yes, you're absolutely right. The topic of whether Pluto is a planet or not is one of the most conscientious debates in science and even within like public opinion. So astronomers, always debate about this. Public opinion varies, especially Americans, I've noticed. So I've read reports about how Pluto is the American favorite planet. So, and part of the reason might be because it was discovered by an American. I think it's one of the only planets that was solely discovered by an American. So
Really?
it's been a fan favorite in the US. So I
Okay,
think
I didn't know that. I didn't know that Pluto's the only planet discovered by an American.
discovered solely by an American, yeah. So that could be one of the reasons that plays into that. But I just want to say that one of my favorite things about science in general is challenging ideas and assumptions. And even just within the comment section of these videos, I'm seeing a lot of people having discussions about the different topics that we chat about in the live stream and the documentaries. And so, just in general, thank you everyone for those comments and those discussions. So please keep that coming. But Goldie, that's really what science is all about, because the reason science moves forward isn't because everyone agrees, but it's because people have these assumptions and people challenge the assumptions, and that's what generates new questions and challenges ideas and new discoveries come about. And Pluto is one of those things.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, like, I just want to know because like, I remember, and so I just want to say really quickly for anyone who is watching this live stream from my YouTube channel, um, go to the link in the video description, go to the link in the pinned chat in my live stream section, because if you want to join the live stream conversation, because we have a very lively live stream chat happening, but if you want to join the conversation, click on the link and go to Rose's channel, go to the Gamma Ray Report. Because the live stream you're watching on my channel, I've purposely closed the chat so you cannot participate or comment. So go to the Gamma Ray Report, like and subscribe, because this is where you're going to get all the info, and this is where the very, very cool chat and all the comments are happening. But Rose, I just wanted to ask you really quickly. Like, I mean, I remember growing up, right? Like, we learned about Pluto being the ninth planet. I literally made like solar system, models and graphs where all the planets are orbiting the sun, and Pluto was the ninth planet orbiting the sun. And, even in like Sailor Moon, there's like Sailor Pluto, right? Like even Sailor Moon has Sailor Pluto. And you and I are both big Sailor Moon fans.
I love Sailor Moon. Part
Like
of the
that's
reason why I love space.
there you go. But like it's so weird to me that it's like all of a sudden like someone just woke up one day and they're like, I don't think Pluto is a planet, let's attack Pluto. Like, how did that even happen? Like, how does it happen like someone just wakes up one day and they're like, I hate Pluto, Pluto's not a planet anymore, like F Pluto, and like Magbar Pluto or whatever, and then all of a sudden like Pluto's not a planet anymore. Like, how does that even happen? Because for I don't know, I maybe I have to look this up, but like,
So,
when was Pluto
so
discovered, and like
yeah.
why is all of a sudden like this debate about Pluto?
So Pluto was discovered in the 1930s, and about 60 years later, so in the 90s, early 90s, is when we had some of our bigger telescopes developed and started to do more deep space research and investigation and photography with those telescopes, Hubble being one of them. And so that's when we started to discover more and more celestial bodies further out in our solar system. So that's when we discovered things like the Kuiper belt, as an example. So the Kuiper belt is a series of rocks and asteroids and meteors in the far outskirts of our solar system.
And
And
I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but do you have a picture of that? Can you maybe like,
actually, yes, I do.
oh my God, you, whoa, okay. Can you pull up
Yeah.
the picture so that we,
I'm
oh my
getting
God,
more and
guys, this
more.
is what I mean. When I say my sister's like the smart one in the family, this is what I'm talking about. Cause like, it's like she can predict what questions I'm going to ask.
It's not
Whoa.
that I can predict, well, kind of, but as this is my third live stream, I'm improving and, I
You're
guess
doing, you're
I
doing
am
amazing. Like
I
every
am
question I'm asked, you already know the
anticipating
answer.
what's gonna come up. So I did do a little bit of preparation, and let me just share my screen. So I asked ChatGPT to generate this photo for me. Okay. So as a review, this is our solar system. So Earth is the fourth, uh, the third planet from the sun. And so we're here. And then Pluto, this is not to scale, by the way. Pluto is over here, but it's actually like more within this Kuiper belt. So again, this is an AI chat GPT generated picture, but kind of gives an idea of where things kind of are. And so because of all of this other material that's found in the Kuiper belt, which was discovered in the 90s, that is when astronomers started to ask the question, should Pluto continue to be classified as a planet, given the fact that we're finding additional material in this section of space and in our solar system that is potentially challenging the idea of whether Pluto is a planet or not. And part of that reason is because they actually found celestial bodies in this section of space that are more massive than Pluto, which then begs the question, if there are more massive um, space formations, should that be considered a planet or not? And then there was either the option of classifying all of these additional bodies as planets, or I guess demoting Pluto from a planet to what it's now deemed as, which is a dwarf planet. And I guess the vote was to do that demotion instead of promoting everyone else to become a planet.
So, okay, so when you say like the vote,
Mm-hmm.
who voted?
So it was the International Astronomers Union. So there's a body of astronomers that's run internationally that is actually the group that classifies the different taxonomy of what you see in space. And
Mhm.
part of that is the categorization and naming convention of these different items, planets being one of them. And so this happened in 2006, and up until this point, there was that's when people started to challenge that assumption. And then there was a big meeting that happened, and all of these astronomers came together, and there was a vote. But so I actually have to do more research into this part, but I've heard that the vote was just above 50-50. So I don't actually know this. I
That's like drama.
yeah,
Whoa.
drama. And
That
also,
like yeah, Rose, like the politician in me, I'm like, oh, the vote was spicy. Like, oh,
yeah, so that's something I need to look into.
wow.
Yeah, and another interesting challenge here is that these were primarily astronomers that made this uh, vote, but there are actually um, there's a branch of science called like planetary science, and there are scientists that specifically study planets who were not necessarily part of this vote. And then many of these planetary scientists are also not very happy with these astronomers who don't necessarily study planets specifically, but space as a whole, who are also like, why are these people making decisions on like our behalf? Like, we're the experts, but like we were kind of left out of what happened in this vote. So this is why it's very like it's a very
It's
controversial topic.
controversial.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so I had no idea that this was done by like some sort of like union or body or whatever.
Hmm,
Okay,
hmm.
Rose, you and I like we need to look more into this together because now like the like well like the politician in me is like even more curious. Like I'm curious to know like how did this group come together? Like
Hmm.
what are like the membership conditions for this group?
That's a great.
Why
Who's
is
running
it?
them? Where's
Yeah,
the
like
money coming from?
yeah. Like, where's the money coming from? Like, where's the authority coming from? And then now you're saying that there are all these like real scientists who are like planetary
Mhm.
scientists. They were excluded from this vote. Like, that's full on drama.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely drama in the space community. But now, like, I'm actually quite curious about that. Like, I wonder if it was mostly like non-Americans who were voting against it. Like, I'd be very curious to see the details of of that vote, to see if that's public information and what we can kind of dig up there. So
Yeah. I mean, do you have any more info? Like, can you tell me a little bit more about the person who discovered Pluto? Like this, the American?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I'm hoping the documentary that we're going to watch will tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay.
But another fun fact that I know is I think it was discovered around the same time that the dog Pluto was created in Walt Disney, because I think it was done in honor of the planet Pluto being discovered, and then Walt Disney created the dog Pluto. So
Hey.
um, so yeah, that was a fun fact.
Well,
And
maybe after we finish watching the documentary, if you find like some info on the person who found Pluto, like maybe you can share that with us.
definitely. And Goldie, do you know what else Pluto stands for in mythology?
Yes. Oh, Pluto is like the Roman god for something.
Of the underworld.
Yes. Okay, it was Hades. Yeah, Hades.
Yeah, so
Hades.
Hades is the
Yes.
Greek version, and then Pluto is the
Pluto
Roman
is the
version.
Roman version. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
knew
yeah.
it was something. I knew it was something because
Yeah.
what I recall is like all of the names of the planets they're based off of one of like the Greek or Roman gods, right? So Mercury, I don't know about Mercury, but you know, Venus is like the goddess of love, Mars is the god of war, Jupiter I think is like the Zeus.
Yeah,
Jupiter is that one.
good job.
I don't recall Saturn or Uranus or Neptune, but you know, Pluto is Hades.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So that's another fun fact. And just pulling up a comment from Dr. Cobra. So thank you, Clyde Tombaugh on February 18th, 1930. So yes, well, thank you for sharing that information. So that is the person who discovered Pluto. So looking it up now. So let me
Well, I
just,
mean, like Rose is trying not to give away too much info before the documentary. That's why
yeah,
she's
this
like,
is,
you're gatekeeping info, Rose. I know you're gatekeeping info on purpose, but
it's a good like executive summary maybe of
don't
what we're gonna watch. But you know,
forget the poll.
we have a
Share
very smart
share the
audience.
poll as well.
Okay, yes, thank you. So I know some of you pointed this out earlier, but I'm just gonna share my screen of a post that I made a couple days ago on my YouTube channel asking people what they thought about Pluto and whether Pluto is, let me just do a refresh on this, whether Pluto is a planet or not. I do realize there is a typo. Thank you to the folks who pointed that out. Unfortunately, I'm not able to edit this, but you know, Pluto is definitely not a plant. I can guarantee that. So, you know, people aren't wrong either way, maybe.
It was a trick question. There you go.
Yes, and thanks to everyone who pointed that out.
I love that.
Unfortunately, I couldn't fix it, but you know, we have a smart audience, and I have faith that people knew what we were getting at. So, the question was, I was just curious to see what our audience was thinking about whether most people thought it was a planet or not a planet, and it seems like most people on this poll voted for definitely a planet. And so I'm going to ask our current live audience the same question to see, you know, whether people are still in line with this. So,
Okay, so Rose, you know what I like to do when I'm doing like a poll on my YouTube channel. So okay, so first of all, see how the poll is placed in the bottom left? So change that to the top right.
okay.
Like the position, you can see it in the widgets, stage placement.
Yes, thank you.
There you go. So now what I like to do, which I think is kind of cool, is I like to play like just like a quick video just so that there's like, it's time limited, right? So this
Yeah.
is a practice for you guys,
Okay.
because Rose's third live stream. So why don't you load your intro video
Okay.
separately into the studio, and then you can play your intro video while people vote, and then that's basically like, so there's like a 2-minute time frame to vote. And for anyone who's watching this live stream on my YouTube channel, because I've turned off the live stream chat, if you want to participate in the vote and in the poll, you have to go to Rose's channel, and the link is in the comment and in the video description. So go to Rose's channel, watch from her channel. That way you can participate in the vote. And in the meantime, we're going to do a quick commercial or music video or whatever, and after the video is done, then the poll is going to stop, and there you go. We'll also show the comments temporarily while the video is playing. All right, let's go. Let's get
Thank
started.
you. Okay, let's see if I did this right.
There we go. I like the music video, Rose. I wonder who made it for you. Very well done.
Someone very classy and amazing. I wonder who it was.
Doesn't this music, guys, everyone watching, this music makes you just want to like cry.
Someone in the comments previously said it was giving them like industrial vibes and
Oh,
industrial music vibes.
I love that. Guys, you only 45 seconds left. Vote now before it's too late. All right. So you can stop the poll now. Wow, okay. So 80%. Wait, you're on mute.
80% voted for yes, Pluto is a planet. Wow. So we got lots of Pluto fans in the chat tonight.
Team Pluto, Team Pluto. Okay, so now that we know like what people think, or you know what kind of the perspective is, this is going to be very cool to now like kind of go into the documentary, right?
Yes, yes.
Is there any other info or context that we need to know for, you know, those of us who are not science experts like you? Anything else we need to know, or anything else that you want to tell us before we jump in?
I think, I was going to cover the review of the solar system. So
Go for it.
No, I already did it. So it was the graphic that I AI generated. So
that was very cool, by the way. Like that was fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thanks to ChatGPT for it. And I think that I just wanted to cover that brief review so people know where everything kind of stood. But just want to point one more thing out. So again, this graph this diagram is not to scale, meaning over here, Pluto looks bigger than Mercury. That's not the case. So just for context. And so I also prepared another diagram just to show some size comparisons. Maybe I'll just show that now quickly. So just so people have an idea of how big Pluto actually is. Again, this is not to scale, but that was funny. Sorry, I just lost my...
Oh my gosh. Good part. Pluto, the Yach planet of beautiful women. That's the inside joke from Iran Revolution Live. You know what I'm talking about, right? The crazy guy guys, so this is an inside joke from Iran Revolution Live. If you know Yach, you know Yach. If you know, you know. Yach.
If you know, you know. So this is another ChatGPT image that I generated. So this is mostly, again, it's not to scale, but it's mostly to show diameter of just some things that we're used to. So the moon, for context, is actually bigger than Pluto. I know this image doesn't show that, but the diameter of the moon is 3,474 kilometers. And the diameter of Pluto is 2,377 kilometers. So just as context, the moon is larger than Pluto. So just something to keep in mind as we go through this documentary, and maybe reasons that'll suggest why some of this discussion came about in terms of how massive some of these objects in space are.
You know, that's a really interesting point, because I remember, and you know, maybe this could be like a topic of like a future video or a live stream or something in the future. But I remember like when we were watching and getting the news about the Artemis trip to the moon, there was like, there were some diagrams or images out there of just like, the spaceship going there and coming back. But then I recall seeing some other diagrams and images of like the actual like scale and the distance of like the Earth to the moon, and it was like much bigger than what was being shown in the diagrams, and the moon was much smaller than what is typically depicted in the diagrams, and I was just blown away by that. So
Well, yeah,
it's
it's
wild how like we see these diagrams and we assume, okay, like this is the size, but the actual size is much different.
yeah. Well, just going back to this one, like this is not nothing like what our solar system actually looks like. Obviously, everything is not aligned. Uh, all of the orbits are very like quite different, and they could be like located in like the X, Y, and Z plane as well, right? So they're like all rotating
Yeah.
differently around the sun, all moving consistently. And the solar system itself is also moving through space in our Milky Way galaxy. So everything is in constant motion and is being pulled by different objects in space that are more massive, that are pulling all of the objects in different directions. But yes, absolutely to your point, it is hard to demonstrate some of these in a diagram to scale, because some of these distances and sizes are just so vastly different that just makes it hard to depict in a way that is to scale. Space is massive.
Oh, no, well that's the thing. Like space is huge. And like just some of the things I've seen is wild. Like there's like some crazy images and diagrams out there. Like even this AI, like even this like graph you've created, diagram, which by the way is phenomenal, right? But based on the information that you've just provided, like in this image, Pluto should, technically be about the same size as the moon,
Yeah.
right? But it's showing Pluto much bigger, which kind of gives us a different sort of perspective on what it actually like looks like, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think I found maybe the post that you were talking about. So let me just share my screen here. So, oh, my browser lost connection to audio. What do I do when that happens?
So
Stop
you
sharing.
just, yeah, stop sharing your screen and reshare. It happens all the time on StreamYard. It's not a you problem, it's like a StreamYard problem.
I do see that happens to you sometimes. So,
Yeah, it happens all the time. And then you just, I think you have to like close the X as well because there's like a red box there. So just close that and then you reshare and then it comes back up.
oh, okay. Let me try that one more time. But yeah, so this is a post on X from around the time
You have to
where,
share your screen.
yeah, around the time where the Artemis mission was happening. Okay. Um, so this is by Unreal, and it says the Artemis trajectory. Space is much bigger than you think. We often see Earth and the moon close together in diagrams, but the reality of the Artemis 2 mission is terrifyingly vast. This is the actual scale of the journey. So this top image is what the
Oh, mute the audio. Mute the audio.
okay,
Because
sorry.
it's well, no, 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 don't apologize. It's just like, something that I've learned as well. So I think that was interstellar music, which is like copyrighted.
Got it.
So
Okay. No,
yeah.
that's a great tip. Thank you for reminding me.
Well, you know what? We'll find you some non-copyrighted space music so that whenever you're sharing something and you want audio, I'll show you how you can play audio. Like how whenever I play IRGC videos, I play like the circus music in the background.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
get some like audio for you loaded up and ready to go for future live streams.
Thank
But
you.
yeah.
But yeah, guys, if you saw this graphic, very great depiction. So the top one is what they show you versus the actual trajectory of Artemis 2 to scale, which, as Goldie mentioned, is absolutely insane. And like, you can't show that in one screen, right? Like, the screen has to be moving for you to be able to accurately depict the sheer size and scale of some of these, missions as a whole. And this is just the Earth and the moon, let alone our solar system. So
Can you
the
make that bigger? Can you like are you able to yeah. There you go. Okay, so at the top, so what you're saying, Rose, is that the top is what they show you
yes,
versus the bottom, which is what it actually is.
what it actually is to scale. Yeah. So very similar to that solar system diagram that I showed. It's similar to the top picture where it's just, it's not to scale, it's just to keep everything kind of in the same picture to kind of show, but it's not to scale and doesn't show the sheer size of some of these objects.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Thanks for reminding me of this of that diagram.
Super cool. I just listen, I always have like so many questions. Anyways, I'm done talking. I ask too many questions. I talk too much. I've been talking all day. I'm here to space out. I want to watch this documentary. I want to see if I was right. Because, guys, here's the thing as well. Rose has been asking us questions, and she did a poll and she got all of our opinions, but she hasn't said whether or not she thinks Pluto is a planet. And I know she's doing that on purpose
I
because
will share my views at the end.
exactly. I figured. So, yeah, let's see.
Okay. So, so this is a documentary called Is Pluto a Planet by PBS Spacetime. And I think it's going to walk us through what PBS
Oh,
Spacetime.
look, my face is at the
Oh,
bottom. Wait, why is YouTube recommending my live stream on your space channel? That's so weird.
it's
YouTube,
probably
stop it.
it's probably part of my algorithm. I mean, you're obviously part of my algorithm. I watch every single one of your videos. So that's probably why.
Oh no, that's so weird.
Okay.
People are gonna be so confused.
Yeah, it's okay. That's fine.
And you're gonna pause and provide your commentary as well, like in places where it needs further explanation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. All right, I got my dinner. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to space out. Wait, you forgot your like
Yes. So, guys, put on your seatbelts because we are taking a ride on the Q400 and going on our field trip to Pluto. Yay!
Can you explain why we're going on the Q400?
Yeah, so the Q400 was the plane that I worked on when I was working at an airplane manufacturing company called Bombardier, Canadian company. And this was the specific plane that I was working on designing and building. It's my little baby, and I'm very proud of it. And this is what we're going to use on our field trip tonight. So let's go.
I love it. Let's go.
You know what a planet is, right? Big round thing that orbits a star? Not so fast. The surprisingly vicious debate over the planetary status of Pluto has given us a fascinating glimpse
Did he
into
say
what a
vicious
scientific definition
debate?
really is. And that that's the word.
No.
Goldie, I told you there's a lot of drama here. I don't think you actually understand
No.
the science debate. And like, you think the people in this chat are, having commentary battles? No, it's within the science.
Oh my
So
god.
sorry. IK4 says scientist drama level is 10. Yes, absolutely. Like, I think I'm telling you, this is one of the most biggest debates in science, whether Pluto is a planet or not. So
Oh, I knew it was spicy. I didn't think it was vicious. Like, I mean, I'm coming from like, terrorism, jihad, Muslim, whatever background. I wasn't expecting like scientists versus scientists, like scientists gone wild. Like, oh
Oh
my
yeah.
God.
Oh yeah.
The fact that I'm sorry, I lost it. He calls it a vicious debate. Like, what's a vicious debate according to scientists? Like, what is a vicious debate?
Pluto.
Okay,
Pluto.
but how are they vicious?
You don't want to know.
Wow. Okay. I
Mine's
want
after dark.
all the intel and okay. We need to dive deep into the
I think,
viciousness of this debate.
I think, afterwards we need to look more into the International Astronomy Union and like just see what happened in that meeting, and that's some research that we have to do.
Okay. Like let's do that. I think we need to do that after. But I'm sorry. I was expecting many things in this documentary. I literally was not expecting like a toxic opening line, just saying that the debate is vicious. I'm like, whoa, that's just like a whole other level of drama. Okay, I'm sorry. I won't interrupt anymore. That caught me off guard.
No, it's fine. I appreciate your commentary as well. Okay, let's start over. We're only 15 seconds in.
You know what a planet is, right? Big round thing that orbits a star? Not so fast. The surprisingly vicious debate over the planetary status of Pluto has given us a fascinating glimpse into what a scientific definition really is, and that perhaps the word planet is too vague to be used as a scientific definition at all. We love to classify things. Labels help us keep stuff organized in our heads. In science, categorization provides a fast and easy way to know the properties of a member of a group just by knowing what group it belongs to. Chemists group elements on the periodic table. Those groups exhibit similar chemical properties that reflect outer shell electron number. Biologists group organisms by similar physical characteristics, and this taxonomy reflects genetic relationships. Astronomers.
Yeah, so that's another interesting thing to think about, Goldie, is that at the end of the day, it's really just scientists that are deciding how to classify different branches of science just based on observations and behavior and consistency across, whatever branch of science it is. So whether it's chemistry with the periodic table or biology and, astronomy. And it's with new discoveries and new technology and new information that's found as science progresses is when some of these definitions potentially can be challenged. And this is probably where, the definition of planet is coming into question, based on the 1930s when Clyde Tombaugh first discovered Pluto versus later in the 20th century when more advanced technology and telescopes were invented, and we were able to see further out into space and discovered other things, in the vicinity of Pluto that were challenging that assumption.
I mean, wait, I have to look this up because I don't know I don't know the answer, but like who's challenging the definition of a planet? Like, to me, that's like you're challenging the definition of like a woman.
Okay, let's not get into gender politics.
I know, I'm just saying, it's weird. Like, why are people challenging the definition of a planet?
I think part of the reason, Goldie, is because, okay, sorry, I keep wanting to pull up my space diagram because I'm actually also so proud of it.
You should pull it up. I think it's phenomenal.
Okay, so
yeah, it's beautiful, and you did an amazing job, and I love it.
Thank you. So I just want to explain something. So just going over the planets, the first four are, like the rocky planets, and then there's the asteroid belt, and then there's the gas giants from Jupiter to Neptune, and then Pluto is not a gas giant. It goes back to like rock and ice. But I guess all of these are planets, right? But you don't know how big they are. You don't know whether it's rocky. You don't know whether it's gas. You don't know what it's composed of. You don't know whether it has rings. So maybe part of the issue is that the word planet, which actually I think, if I remember correctly, is a Greek word that means wandering star. So way back in the day when, the ancient Greeks were discovering space, to them, planets were these bright stars that they were seeing in the sky that were moving, whereas some of the more distant stars in space weren't moving. So that's how they defined planet to begin with. And so maybe the issue here comes with the word planet being too broad and too vague. Because if let's say I'm an astronomer and I discover a planet in a different galaxy, as an example, and I say, I discovered a planet, you're not going to know, is it a gas giant? Is it a rocky planet? Does it have rings? How big is it? So maybe the challenge here is the origins of the word that has been carried through time, and how, and maybe it's just not sufficient enough today in terms of all of the different kinds of planets that we have to accurately describe what you're looking at and what you've potentially discovered.
I just looked up something and now I'm absolutely terrified.
What did you look up?
So I was looking up the definition of planet, and then it said something about it doesn't include the current definition of planet excludes exoplanets. So then I just did a quick search. I was like, what's an exoplanet? Apparently an exoplanet is like there are some untethered rogue planets that just freely float through space. Yeah. That is terrifying. Imagine living on a planet that's just randomly floating through space and you have no idea where you're going or what you're doing. What is that? What is that? That is terrifying. It's almost as terrifying as the concept of the sun dying eventually.
So what? It's so cool. There's so many worlds to explore and discover, and it's just it's infinite. Why is that terrifying?
But that exoplanet is just roaming around. It's all lost. It doesn't know where its home is, and oh my gosh,
do you feel bad for the planet? Is that what it is?
Or yeah, I feel bad for the planet. It's like a homeless planet. It's trying to find its home.
The planet is gonna be fine. It'll be fine. But okay, so yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit about that taxonomy piece and about how, it just comes down to definitions at the end of the day, but it doesn't make anything less important, right? So regardless of what Pluto is categorized at or what we call it, it's still going to be as equally important to continue to investigate it, to research it, to, explore. So it's really just nomenclature at this point, but there's no debate in science as to whether it's important or not to continue to explore Pluto. Just wanted to also point that out. So it's not a matter of importance. It's just what we call it.
I'm just sad for the rogue planets now.
It's fine. Well, maybe we'll develop a GoFundMe for the rogue planets.
Yeah, save the rogue planets.
Should that be our first merch, Goldie? Save the rogue planets.
Yeah, you know what? You should make a merch store. I'll help you out with that. Guys, do you think Rose should have a merch store? Let me know in the comments. What kind of merch you want to see from Rose.
Nothing political.
Obviously not. I think we should have Job Eat Space, though.
Oh my god. Well, we could have that.
And maybe a Magbar Pluto. No, I'm joking.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's continue.
Are all about space taxonomy. We classify galaxies based on their shape, black holes based on how they feed and how they're oriented, stars based on their color and brightness, and planets by a set of criteria that has caused more tension and heartbreak than any made-up grouping scheme really should. because a change in that scheme demoted Pluto from planet to not planet. Today, we're going to settle whether this was reasonable and whether we should keep the word planet at all. The definition of planet has changed a lot. If you were an ancient astronomer, like say Ptolemy, the planets were the Asteris Planetae, the wandering stars. These included Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, but also the Sun and the Moon, basically anything that moved relative to the background stars. Note that they did not include the Earth. This definition of planet was the most sensible classification for thousands of years based on our observations and understanding of the universe. But understanding improves. In 1543, Nicholas Copernicus published On the Revolutions of the Heavenly Spheres, which cast the Sun and not the Earth as the center of the universe, and the Earth in its proper place among the planets. This picture was cleaned up by the observations of Galileo and Brahe and the mathematical models of Kepler and Newton. Newton's law of gravity led to consistent predictability of the motion of the heavenly spheres. The solar system finally made observation and theoretical sense. There were now 6 planets orbiting the sun in perfect mathematical harmony. But new discoveries were about to mess up this beautifully simple picture. See, that's the thing about science. No so-called fact is ever perfectly safe. Everything is subject to revision if evidence turns against it. That's the beauty of the scientific process. Keep this in mind when we get to Pluto. New wandering stars were discovered in the centuries following Newton. Uranus had been spotted many times throughout history, but was only identified as a planet after William Herschel recorded its movement in 1781.
Goldie, just wanted to add something here. So what he said is really interesting about like no fact is ever perfectly safe in science. And I think part of that is because science is a self-correcting process, right? Like you have one discovery, like, I don't know, I remember like back in the day, did a doctor say like smoking was healthy and they were advertising smoking and promoting smoking until eventually it was, discovered to be a carcinogenic and, so bad for your health. So just as an example, that was just the first thing that came to mind. But with additional discoveries and research, that's where the self-correction kind of comes into play and where you might deem maybe what you were thinking before was not the most accurate.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if I'm explaining this or describing this properly, but my understanding is like science kind of works is the way it works is like, you present a theory and then people basically do experiments to try and disprove the theory. But if they can't disprove it and they always come up with the same result, then that kind of works in favor of the theory and then eventually becomes fact, right? Is
Yeah.
that am I thinking about that properly? Because I remember like in like my science and chem labs, that's kind of what we were trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm just getting a little distracted. I see people in the comments talking about this person's accent. And I remember in like one of our previous videos, someone made a comment about how like the English accent of the person in the video made it like more credible. I don't know what accent.
Who is this person? Well, why don't we look him up? What's his name? Let's look him up.
I think it was Garth Mag.
Yeah, look him up. Let's see where he's from.
I think it was this person.
No. I'm saying who's the.
Okay, this was the person who made that comment previously. I think.
No, I don't care about that. I'm saying who's the actual person speaking. Like, let's find out where he's from.
Let's see if his name is in the comments.
Matt O'Dowd or something. O'Dowd. That's like Scottish or Irish, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's look him up.
Okay, let's look him up.
Then we can settle the debate on his accent.
Australian.
Oh, Australian. There you go. So everyone in the comment section who said Australian, there you go. The Aussies were right. Good day, mate. All right then. That reminds me of the scene from Dumb and Dumber. Remember where he's in the limo, and then
Oh,
the woman is like, "I'm
she's
from
Dutch?
Austria,"
Oh,
and then
Austria.
he's like, "Good day, mate. Put a shrimp on the bob, eh?" or something. I don't know.
Yeah. One of my favorite movies. Oh, it looks like Texas Troop was right.
Oh
If
yeah.
that's what you're referring to? Yes. He's an Aussie. Okay. Let's continue. Oops, sharing the wrong screen. Sorry.
Throw another shrimp on the bob, eh? Sorry.
Uranus had been
Make the video big because my live stream's showing up and that's weird.
only identified as a planet after William Herschel recorded its movement in 1781. That same motion almost perfectly reflected the clockwork predictions of Newtonian mechanics. Almost. Slight deviations in Uranus's orbit betrayed the existence of Neptune, which was discovered first in the mathematics and then with a telescope in 1846. Between these two discoveries, 4 other bodies joined the planets. At the beginning of the 1800s, Vesta, Juno, Ceres, and Pallas were all spotted between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter and classified as planets. But astronomers kept finding more and more objects in that.
Goldie, did you catch that? So Pluto wasn't the first planet to get demoted. Scientists discovered these 4 other planets, which, we don't know them as planets today. Vesta, Juno, Ceres, and Pallas.
Oh, you know what? I totally I misinterpreted that. So for some reason I thought those were like the Roman names for like the Greek planet names that we have now. So those are totally. Can you go back? Can you replay that part? I'm sorry.
No problem.
Telescope in 1846. Between these two discoveries, 4 other bodies joined the planets. At the beginning of the 1800s, Vesta, Juno, Ceres, and Pallas were all spotted between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter and classified as planets. But astronomers kept finding more and more objects in that vicinity and eventually realized that a new group was needed.
Yeah.
That's your diagram. Go back to your diagram.
Okay.
No, guys, those aren't moons. That's the asteroid belt.
Yes.
Oh, so they probably found like the four biggest asteroids.
Yeah, so they were finding more and more, stuff in this area, rocks, comets, meteors, asteroids. And, I'm not going to give it away, but it sounds like it maybe was the asteroid belt. Maybe.
You're not going to give it away. I guessed it already. It's the asteroid belt. Okay, so I'm going to ask this question, but don't answer it now. Save it for later because they might explain it or not. But okay, so then what's the difference between an asteroid and a planet? In the asteroid belt between that and like the planets because they're all orbiting. Anyways, like I don't give the spoiler away, but
I won't give it away. But I imagine they're going to go through the actual definition of a planet because at that 2006 meeting with the International Astronomers Union, that's when they were discussing the definition of a planet and what constitutes a planet and why Pluto doesn't fit that definition. So it'll get into that.
Wow. Okay.
We'll see.
Now, taxonomy, so the class of asteroids came into being. You might argue that Ceres, Juno, Pallas, and Vesta were unfairly demoted from planet. After all, Ceres is 20% the diameter of Mercury, so it's in the planetary ballpark at least. But where do you draw the line? How many asteroids should we then classify as planets? Or do we drop Mercury, which is, after all, only 50% larger than our own moon and smaller than Saturn's moon Titan? Our taxonomy had to evolve as our understanding of the solar system grew, and so the term planet became reserved for the now familiar 8, Mercury through Neptune, although the definition of the word was still vague. And this is where Pluto finally comes into our story. Even with the discovery of Neptune, the orbit of Uranus still appeared a bit off, at least in some calculations. And so began a feverish search for yet another planet to resolve this discrepancy. The search for the so-called Planet X became the grail quest of Percival Lowell, businessman turned astronomer. He built the Lowell Observatory in Arizona with that single goal. In 1930, 14 years after Lowell's death, but still powered by his observatory and his family's fortune, Planet X was finally discovered. Or so we thought. Clyde Tombaugh, a 22-year-old Kansas farm boy, spotted a moving
That's the guy who discovered Pluto.
Yeah. Shout out to our viewers. I think it was Dr. Cobra who pointed that one out.
Yes,
Yeah, we got some really smart, viewers, Goldies.
we
So,
do.
but yeah, kudos. I think he said he was from Kansas, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rose, what were you doing at 22? I know what I was doing at 22. What were you doing? I was not discovering planets at the age of 22.
Is that when you had red hair?
No. Yes.
Yes, I think it was. What was
Yeah.
I doing at 22? I was studying aerospace engineering in school.
Yeah. You were the smart one, like I said.
Yeah, I was nerding out.
I was
hardcore.
the one with the red hair listening to metal and industrial music.
Yes. And had a big influence on me in my music selection today.
speck of light in this finally discovered. Or so we thought. Clyde Tombaugh, a 22-year-old Kansas farm boy, spotted a moving speck of light in a series of photographic plates taken under the guidance of Vesto Slipher, Lowell Observatory's director. Orbital calculations put the object beyond the orbit of Neptune, and it appeared within 6 degrees of one of Slipher's predictions for the location of the mysterious Planet X. Astronomers were expecting a planet, and one was found roughly where they thought it should be. So perhaps it's not surprising that Pluto was hailed as a planet without due scientific process. That's not to say everyone agreed. The orbit of the new object was far more elliptical, stretched out than any other planet. It also seemed too faint to possibly have the mass required to explain Uranus's orbital discrepancies. By 1931, astronomers had figured out that there didn't even need to be a ninth planet to account for Uranus's strange orbit. But because Pluto was the only such object yet discovered at that distance, it kept its classification as planet. New astronomy textbooks included distant Pluto, and generations of students memorized 9 rather than 8 planets.
Yeah, so Goldie, basically as soon as Pluto was discovered, it was immediately deemed a planet. So it was declared, a planet, and there wasn't really at that time. I don't think there was an actual definition for it yet, but it became a planet because I think at that point in astronomy, that's what people knew of mostly. Like people just knew of planets. We didn't really have all of these different definitions of different things that you can find in space in the 1930s. And that's when it got added to all the textbooks, etc., and added to school and the learning and what we even learned up until the 90s and maybe early 2000s, before the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end, that sounds so dramatic. Oh my god.
And generations of students memorized 9 rather than 8 planets. Fast forward several decades. With the advent of giant telescopes and digital cameras, we began to find more and more objects that muddied the definition of planet. In the late 80s, the first brown dwarf was discovered. These giant orbs of gas aren't massive enough to ignite nuclear fusion in their cores like a true star, but still seem too massive to be called planets. And yet some brown dwarfs orbit other, more massive stars just like planets do. Our overly vague definition of planet left these brown dwarfs in taxonomical limbo. Also through the 1990s, more and more moving specks were discovered within our solar system beyond Neptune's orbit. They were mostly much smaller than Pluto, but appeared to form a
Is that
belt
is
of
that the
countless
thing you're
objects.
talking
What we
about?
now
The Cooper,
Called-
whatever, Kuiper belt. Sorry, Rose. So in your diagram, I just have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
So
Sorry. I think I froze for a second, but I think I'm back.
oh yeah, you're back. Can you pull up your diagram again? Because these specs that he's talking about right now that were being discovered like around Pluto, is that the Kuiper belt in your diagram that whoa, whoa. Oh no, guys! Technical difficulties. Oh no, it's just me. What do I do? I don't know. I don't know anything about space. Guys, what do I do? I'm so lost. Guys, we're in space together floating around. Oh no! Oh no, what's happening? I'm so lost.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry.
Ground control to Major Rose. Ground
Are you
control to
trying to take
Major
over my
Rose.
channel?
Yes, it's
Wow.
Alien Revolution Live. It's what we do.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. Everything just like exploded, but I think I'm okay now.
Okay, that's okay. You know what? It happens once in a while. It's happened to me in the past, so all good. If it happens, you know what's happened. But okay, so here's what I want you to do. See on the screen, click your image and drag it on top of mine. That'll reposition the. Yeah, there you go.
Why does that matter?
Hmm?
Why does that matter?
Because you're number one, Rose number one on GammaRay Report. I'm just the Ophélie, remember?
Sorry, someone said a funny comment. Rose again, just Rose again.
It was the space mullahs.
I love that movie. I know. So Armageddon is like actually like it's very sci-fi and not really based on what could actually happen. But I loved that movie. I thought like I probably watch it like twice a year. Just
It's a good
randomly.
movie.
I don't know. There's just something about like how heroic Bruce Willis was, and
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
anyways, sorry, you were
Well,
asking.
I was asking a question before we go to that. So yeah, like once in a while, like my channel just like explodes as well. It's literally the space mullahs. You can't do anything about it. But I'm glad that it actually happened while I'm here, so that you can like you can experience it on your own, or at least with me around. So what happens is like if at any point in time, like let's say your browser crashes or whatever and everything shuts down, the live stream is still actually going. It just basically like it'll show a blank screen. Except because I was here, it just showed me. And I was just like, oh, we're taking over anyways, but that's fine. But like if that ever happens, all you do is you literally just come back in, you add yourself to the stage, and you handled it perfectly. I've done it, like it's happened to me a million times, so all good. But yeah, my question was about the Kuiper belt. So because I think in the documentary they were like here, they're talking about how they're starting to see more and more specs. And so what I was asking you is this the Kuiper belt in that diagram that you created?
Yes, so it's the one in the far outskirts of the solar system, which is actually where Pluto lies. So again, this diagram isn't super accurate, but Pluto is like in that belt.
Oh, so okay, so then is that maybe part of the argument for why Pluto is not a planet, because it's within the belt and not separate from the belt? Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, so it's actually
Because
the
that would be the
IAU.
reason why the other four planets were demoted. Sorry.
So the IAU came up. So IAU is the International Astronomy Union. So they came up with the definition, which, like again, like I think the video hopefully is going to go into it, but there's 3 criteria that a planet needs to have, and the third one, like you're almost touching on it basically, but that's pretty much almost why. And they're going to go into like the reasoning behind it. So,
Oh
yeah. But I don't want to give the spoilers.
no. Okay. Now no spoil. You know what? I hate it when you give spoilers. I hate when people give spoilers.
Did you know, sorry, a little anecdote. I got the worst spoiler. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm a huge
You
Harry
told me
Potter
about
nerd.
this.
Oh my god, it still aggravates me to this day. The fifth book, Order of the Phoenix. Sorry, spoiler alert for anyone who doesn't know what happens at the end of the fifth book. Like mute this now. But so like Snape, sorry, was it the fifth book? I don't know. One of the later books. I think it was the fifth book. It was the sixth book. Sorry. It was the sixth book. Anyways, Snape kills Dumbledore. I didn't know this at this point, and it was like the second day that the book came out. It was in the summer, and I was so excited. I'm like, this is like before the internet, so you're not going to go online and like find spoilers. I was like, okay, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to read this book throughout the summer. I don't want to read it too fast because I wanted to enjoy the book because at that time, like every couple of years is when a new book would come out. And then I go to the movies in the summer because, you know, it's the summer. I'm going to the movies. I see this boy from school. And he's like, hey, Rose, did you read the book? And I'm like, oh, like I just started. And he's like, Snape kills Dumbledore. Yeah.
Have you seen, wait, before we go, have you seen the video?
What video?
The Snape kills Dumbledore video?
I don't think so.
Oh my god, it's the best. This is like one of the original. So like, and like
I'm just triggered. I'm sorry. Like it's like, you know, who does that?
Okay. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's so mean. It's so mean. But I remember seeing all the meme videos, right? Like, look at this. Look at this. This one's a classic. This is from like right when, like E-Bombs World, right? You remember E-Bombs World? That's like from like 25 years ago.
I'm here.
Okay, so apparently these are all people that are waiting outside the bookstore, waiting to buy the book. And then this guy just spoils it for everyone.
I'm here at the Barnes & Noble, and you can't see it from here, but there's a giant crowd outside, and I am about to ruin the Harry Potter ending for them. It is 1:02 a.m. Central Time. This is Dallas, Texas. Let's see how pissed off these people get.
By the way, I don't condone this. Like, I hate spoilers. Like, this is why for me, like anyone, if someone spoils something for me, like that's like automatic, like friendship over. So bad.
And I suck at driving my mom's minivan. And I have a friend up there that's probably never going to forgive me for doing this, but oh well.
This is what happened to me. Basically.
It's bad.
Snape kills Dumbledore! Snape kills Dumbledore!
Like, why?
Snape kills Dumbledore!
Terrible.
You literally have to be like, you know, just a very sad person to want to ruin other people's, you know, excitement for a story like that.
I agree. I agree. Like you have to be a very miserable person and to have like you have to lead a really sad life to do something like that. So I'm so sorry that like that was spoiled for you. Like that's just terrible.
Yeah, it was sad. But you know, maybe one day I'll get over it. I'm working on it.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Okay, that was a big tangent. Let's jump back into the Kuiper belt. I
Yeah,
think.
so no more spoilers, I guess. But guys, so a spoiler, just want to say, a spoiler implies that the person speaking about the topic knows what's going to happen. I literally have no idea what's going on. Like, I'm discovering this. There's a reason Rose is not really answering my questions, because if she was going to answer, she would give the spoilers away. So she's not doing that, but I'm just asking the questions because I don't know anything about space.
You know a lot about it. You're doing very well. You're like making great assumptions. We're all on this space journey, spacing out together, Goldie.
Thank you.
So through the 1990s, more and more moving specks were discovered within our solar system beyond Neptune's orbit. They were mostly much smaller than Pluto, but appeared to form a belt of countless objects, what we now call the Kuiper belt, and that encompasses Pluto's orbit. Pluto became to the Kuiper belt what Ceres was to the asteroid belt, the biggest fish in the pond, big enough to cling to its title of planet, or so we thought. Telescopes got bigger and our mapping of the Kuiper belt became more thorough, and in the early 2000s, a number of objects in the Kuiper belt and beyond were found to be similar in size to Pluto. Keor, Makemake, Orcus, Sedna, Eris, and more. Eris was the last straw. It's 28% more massive than Pluto, which spurred NASA to initially hail it as the 10th planet.
So this is when it started to become a problem, because Eris, although slightly smaller in diameter, was more massive than Pluto.
Wait, how does that make sense? I don't understand. How could it be
based on the material and the density, right? So mass is not always based on size. It's based on what you're composed of and your material.
So Eris had more mass than Pluto?
Yeah. Yeah. I have another image which I created, but this is when it started to become more and more of a problem because of the mass issue. And Eris wasn't the only one. Okay, so I added Eris to this previous diagram. So this time I added.
Did you make this yourself?
Well, yeah, on ChatGPT.
Yeah, no, I know on Chat, but you still made it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very impressed. Wow. You need to make more of these like graphs and graphics. Like, no, this is really well done.
I think, yeah, like as I'm learning more on like how I want to run the live stream and the channel, I feel like this kind of stuff definitely helps support some of the explanations for sure. So thank you for that feedback.
Can I ask you a question? Secret question. What? Can you make diagrams for my channel too, please?
Yeah, let's talk about it offline.
Okay, I don't know how to make these sorts of graphics for my live stream. Please. But don't tell the chat. Can you help me make graphics for my live stream?
I won't tell anyone.
Okay, whisper. Shh, whisper.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, so basically all I did is just different to the previous version of this diagram that I showed. I added Eris, which is another body that they found in the Kuiper belt, which has a slightly smaller diameter, but it has more mass. So this is where it started to become an issue. Let's go back to Matt O'Dowd, our Aussie friend.
The shrimp on the barbie.
Which spurred NASA to initially hail it as the 10th planet. The theoretical predictions suggested that we'd only seen the tip of the Kuiper belt iceberg. There must be hundreds more objects in the mass range of Pluto, and perhaps a couple of thousand. If we classed them all as planets, school children would need novella-length mnemonics to remember them all. And so, despite the anger of school children everywhere, it was in their own interest.
Wait, Rose, I love this. Look at this. So someone knows more about us than everyone than even us. So James says we're not sisters, and we're just podcast friends. That's true because Rose is adopted. When she was young, I would tease her and I would say that she's adopted. So James is right. We're not actually sisters. Rose is
James,
adopted.
wow, you know so much about us. How do you think he found out, Goldie?
I don't know, man. I don't know what gave it away. I don't know.
Okay, well, I guess cat's out of the bag now. No going back.
Oh no.
Okay.
In 2000, children everywhere, it was in their own interest that astronomers decided to act. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union, the governing body of all astronomy names, designations, and definitions, met to finally define what it meant to be a planet in our solar system. A number of definitions were debated, they eventually voted, and agreed on the following. A planet must, 1. Be in its own orbit around the sun, not around another planet like a moon. 2. Have sufficient mass to assume hydrostatic equilibrium, meaning it must be roughly spherical. And 3. Have cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. While Pluto satisfies the first two, it doesn't meet the third requirement.
Goldie, were you paying attention? Did you catch the definition?
No, I was looking.
Yeah, I could tell from your face. You're laughing. This is what we've been building up to, Goldie.
I'm so sorry. There's a lot of like people in the chat that are like, they're older siblings and they're like, yeah, we were like, we did the same thing, right? Like, look at this. Older sisters are the worst. I'm an older sister.
Yeah, Goldie.
I'm so sorry.
Listen, Goldie was actually a great, and still is, a great older sister. Like 99.9% of the times, she was amazing. But there was always like the 1%, which I feel like older sisters have that responsibility, where she would have her little moments where she would, tease me, and maybe one day we'll get more into some of those things. One day I'll have to talk about the headgear story, but
I didn't want to bring it up, but you did.
Maybe one day in the future we'll talk about that, but
whenever you're doing like a show on like teeth or something about teeth or braces or whatever, we can bring up the headgear story.
Hey, if there are any dentists who want to come on the show one day, we can talk about the science of oral hygiene, hit me up. Flossing is important. It leads to good heart health and cardiovascular health. Don't forget to floss.
Yeah. But what Rose is trying to say is that, yes, there was like 1%, but I was like very, very, like, I'm very overprotective, right? So sure, like I could tease my sister, but if anyone else even looked at my sister, or even still does, anyone looks at my sister the wrong way, I'm coming after you. So that's all there is. Anyways, let's go back. Now I'm not distracted anymore.
Yes, let's go back to what we've been building to, Goldie. Look, it's the IAU resolution B5.
Who voted on this? That's what I want to know. I need to know who voted on this. Who even made the IAU? You need to you should do a whole video on like what the IAU is and like the background and like where this came from, because this whole thing is super sketchy to me. Like, it's super sketchy.
Definitions were debated, they eventually voted and agreed on the following. A planet must, 1. Be in its own orbit around the sun, not around another planet like a moon.
Okay.
2. Have sufficient mass to assume hydrostatic equilibrium, meaning it must be roughly spherical. And 3. Have cleared the neighborhood around its orbit.
Oh, that's where the asteroid belt comes in. So that's where like the four other planets that were like found were deemed to be asteroids because those were the planets in the asteroid belt between. Wait, who came up with that definition? Why
Yeah,
why does the astral orbit thing matter? That
why
seems
does it
like a very
matter?
biased definition.
Because the alternative is like if they don't have that, then everything in the asteroid belt and everything in the Kuiper belt could be deemed a planet. And like, I don't know, like what mnemonic we'd have to come up with to memorize all of those planet names for our grade 6 science class space quiz, but it would be a lot. It could be like hundreds potentially, maybe more. You don't seem
Okay.
impressed. I can't tell if you're about to say something or if I should continue.
Well, I mean, I have a question, but I know that you don't have the answer to the question because I mean, the questions I have are like really wild and crazy, but
Okay.
maybe you can write it down and you can find the answer like later. But
Sure.
I'm just curious now, like so if like that planet
Eris, yeah.
Eris has like more mass than Pluto, I'm
Okay.
just curious how like Pluto was discovered first and then Eris was discovered later, even though Eris is technically like has more mass or something. Like I'm just curious about like how um like what made Pluto more visible than the other, I guess,
Mhm.
asteroids in the Kuiper belt. I'm just
Yeah.
curious about that.
I would have to look into that,
Yeah.
but if I was just to guess, it would probably be like where Clyde was looking at in the sky with his telescope. Maybe Pluto was in orbit in that location and Eris wasn't at the time, right?
Okay.
So that's just what I would guess.
Yeah.
You can certainly look into that.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know the answer to
Mhm.
that.
Mhm. Okay, shall we continue?
Yes, please.
Two, it doesn't have a hood around its orbit. While Pluto satisfies the first two, it doesn't meet the third requirement. Were it a proper planet, it would have collected or scattered all Kuiper Belt objects in its orbit. Planet got redefined to something that Pluto just isn't. In this same process, the IAU created an entire new class of object, dwarf planet, an object which has its own orbit and is spherical-ish, but not massive enough to clear its orbit. Pluto, Eris, Ceres, Haumea, and Makemake were all promoted to dwarf planet, and many similar objects will no doubt follow. While this
Wait,
redefinition was meant to settle the debate, some
why is the moon in the image? The moon is on a dwarf planet.
Yeah, so I actually think that might be there
As a
for
size.
for
Okay.
comparison purposes, yeah, because the fourth definition in the list, he didn't touch on it, but the fourth definition was that it's not a satellite. So
Yeah.
it's yeah. Um, so I think maybe it's the moon is just there for comparison to show that the moon is actually bigger than a lot of these planets, which are now deemed to be dwarf planets.
So then that means that there's probably like hundreds of dwarf planets or something.
Yeah, yeah, and that this is where some of the issues are coming from, especially
Oh.
within the asteroid belt and the Kuiper belt, because there's just so many. So it's like, why would Pluto be a planet and not all of these other ones? So what if we have a new definition that comes in, which is dwarf planet, which is maybe a type of planet, but it's a little bit more descriptive in a way to define what exactly you're talking about.
But that still doesn't really, I guess, explain, and maybe we haven't gone to that part yet, but that still doesn't really explain like what's the difference between a dwarf planet and an asteroid, because the
Yeah,
reason that like Pluto is considered, I guess, by some people, it's considered a dwarf planet is because it's surrounded by all these asteroids, right? So what makes one a planet and what makes one an asteroid?
it's the mass. So it's the second definition that it has to be massive enough to be spherical or almost spherical. Most asteroids are not spherical. They're like rocky, they're lumpy, they're irregular because they don't have enough mass. So once a planetary body reaches a specific mass, its gravity like shapes it into
Right.
a sphere. So asteroids don't meet that criteria, which is why they're deemed asteroids.
Okay.
No doubt follow. While this redefinition was meant to settle the debate, some still argue that Pluto should be grandfathered in as a planet. Even the current NASA administrator, Jim Bridenstine, is declaring Pluto a planet once more, saying, "It's the way I learned it." Well, political appointees declare lots of things, and not everything we learn as kids is true. Fortunately, the act
Your face is making me want to pause.
Your political appointee. Wait, how is the like director of NASA a political appointee? How is that political?
I don't know. How are they appointed? Are they appointed by the government? I don't know.
I have to like look this up
Oh
now.
my God, I love this comment.
Yeah, it's a
Yep.
so the director of NASA, so the administrator is appointed by the president of the United States. So I mean, technically, I guess it's like a political appointment, but it's not political in the sense of like he's political. Like it's not a political thing. It's like because NASA is a government organization, it has to be like the administrator is like appointed by the government, but like he's using political in a weird sense, right? Like it's a government agency, so of course the government agency is going to be run by someone who's appointed politically, right? Similar to like how Marco Rubio is a political appointment because he's like the Secretary of State, or Scott Bessent is a political appointment because he's the Secretary of Treasury. Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War. This guy is the administrator of NASA. So yes, I mean technically it's a political appointment, but it's not like a political thing, you know what I mean? Like it's not the same in politics. Yeah, the word political activated me. It totally activated me. Like this guy's so, but you know why it activated me? Because like Rose, this guy, he's making it sound as if like um the NASA administrator's opinion should be disregarded because he was appointed by the US government. Can you go back and like what's his name again?
Matt O'Dowd.
No, not this guy, the administrator he's referring to. Sorry, I should have been more clear.
Oh, I don't remember. Let's go
Yeah,
back.
yeah, go back go back a minute or so because I want to look up that guy. Like, let's see what his credentials are because it almost seems like this guy is trying to discredit that guy
Sure.
just because he was a political appointment.
Yeah. Well, I'd be curious who appointed him as
Well,
well.
let's find out. Let's
Sure.
let's look him up when we get his name. Look it up.
be grandfathered in as a planet. Even the current NASA administrator, Jim Bridenstine, is declaring
Jim Bridenstine.
Okay, look him up.
Okay. So, James Frederick Bridenstine, or Jim, American politician, military pilot who served as 13th administrator of NASA.
Oh, he's appointed by President Trump.
Wait, so this is the current.
No. This is former because he was appointed. If you look at under in office.
Oh yes.
In 2018, 2021, yeah.
Oh wait, let's see how old this video is. So this video was from 2019. Okay, so okay. I guess at the time of this video, he was the current guy.
Right. So what are his qualifications? Like go down like to his education and stuff?
So he was in the military, joined the Navy, naval administrator, active duty in the U.S. Naval Reserve. Wow. He flew aircraft. And then in 2008, he became ED of Tulsa Air and Space Museum.
So he like this guy's qualified. Like this guy is highly qualified.
I mean, it's the I guess there's maybe some political bias potentially in this video.
Wow, like this is part of the whole like vicious debate on whether or not Pluto's up now. Okay, now I see where the viciousness comes from that the guy said at the beginning of the video.
Could be. Okay.
Guys, no, this isn't about politics. I was just curious as to why this guy was like attacking the NASA administrator. That's all. I was just curious about that.
Okay, my browser lost connectivity to audio again, so
It happens.
to stop. Do I have to restart the YouTube stream too? The YouTube video too?
No. Just stop sharing your screen and then just reshare it. So yeah, but no, you didn't stop sharing your screen. You just removed it.
Oh, okay, sorry. Gotta stop screen.
Yeah. Now reshare it.
Okay. Oops.
And then just make the screen big and you're good to go. Make the screen big, and you're good to go.
Okay.
Grandfathered in as a planet. Even current NASA administrator Jim Bridenstine is declaring Pluto a planet once more, saying, "It's the way I learned it." Well, political appointees declare lots of things, and not everything we learn as kids is true. Fortunately, the actual scientific process is more rigorous than that. Scientific definitions require careful thought, precision, and broad expert consensus, and are subject to revision. Sure, we could add a fourth requirement to the definition of planet, like 4, ignore all of the above if changing things makes people sad. But because we are all curious and open-minded individuals here, perhaps it will be more fun to think about why this reclassification is so contentious. Why all the sentimentality? The reclassification from planet to dwarf planet does seem like a demotion. Look, Pluto, I am afraid you haven't cleared your orbit of debris this quarter. We're going to have to reevaluate your role in this taxonomy. Don't think of this as a demotion. It's more of a re-incentivizing horizontal pivot. That conversation would make anyone cry. But let me assure you, the 13 sextillion kilogram ball of rock and ice that is Pluto doesn't have strong opinions about its own taxonomic status among a few classification crazy bipeds several planetoids away. We perceive this
classification crazy bipeds.
Why does he sound like such a snob? Like,
that was quite condescending.
That was very condescending. Like, what is this?
I guess we're not a fan of Matt O'Dowd anymore.
Like, you know what? I feel like this guy's like talking down to me. Like, what? Like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
He's calling you a biped.
Well, not that. It's just like he's like
classification crazy.
Well, no, it's just like the way he said it. Like, you know, a unfeeling ball of rocks doesn't care about how you think about it. Well, I don't know. It's just I don't know.
Yeah, you know, maybe he does
kind of
that, like, yeah, sorry, maybe he has that, like, you know, like better than thou personality. Like if he's, you know, really, really smart. Sometimes it can be a complex and very smart people. Not everyone is like that, but some people are like that. And especially when you get a lot of scientists in the same room together who are like that, that's where the vicious, you know, arguments come from.
Same thing when you get a whole bunch of politicians in a room. I've been there.
Yeah,
yeah, you and I, we know. Because you've dealt with that yourself. Oh my gosh, you're right. Like, honestly, like the egos are wild. The egos are wild sometimes.
Yeah.
Assignment as a demotion because we anthropomorph status among a few classification crazy bipeds several planetoids away. We perceive this reassignment as a demotion because we anthropomorphize everything. But with such powerful imaginations, can't we just reframe this? As we've peered deeper into our universe, we've realized that it's full of weird, beautiful, and important worlds. Some we now call planets, some not. For example, the moons of Jupiter and Saturn are active worlds that may prove to be the only other homes for life within our solar system. And Pluto itself proved far more interesting than just another planet. We already knew about planets, but Pluto's discovery revealed the existence of the Kuiper Belt, which is of fundamental importance to our understanding of how our solar system formed. Pluto went from being the least of the planets to one of the greatest of a new class of object. And what about the term planet? Despite our attempts at improving the rigor and usefulness of the term, there's still some ambiguity. The inner rocky planets are very different from the outer gaseous planets. Should they receive different names? There's no single perfectly correct way to classify groups of objects.
So I think this is where some of that taxonomy comes back into play, because maybe it would be more efficient to have some of these different definitions of types of planets. Like, as an example, rocky planet versus like gas giant, in terms of how we want to move forward with defining planets. I don't think this has happened yet with the IAU, but maybe it's somewhere, down the line potentially.
Taxonomy is, by nature, a somewhat arbitrary art. And the new IAU definition of a planet, while being more precise, was somewhat tuned to a predetermined desire to eject Pluto and retain the 8 other planets. A touch arbitrary perhaps, but the new definition is scientifically useful. The 8 solar system bodies currently defined as planets certainly share plenty enough in common, similarities in the way they formed and in the way they behave, that make it useful to categorize them under a single label. And like any aspect of the scientific process, this is subject to revision. Maybe at some point in the future, as we learn more about how different worlds form, astronomers will change the definition of planet again. The language we use to describe the universe becomes more precise as we learn more about its nature. And anyway, the word world still applies to Pluto, and it's a rather more poetic label for one of the greatest dwarf planets in known space-time. Okay, some announcements. First up, we're launching a space-time Discord.
Okay, guys, I think that was the end of the documentary. Our friend Matt moves into some different announcements now. But what did you guys think? It was, I hope you learned some new things about Pluto today, but I did want to share something interesting with you. So I'm just going to share my screen here. So this is New Horizons, which was an interplanetary space probe launched in the early 2000s. And its mission was to do a flyby of Pluto and to explore Pluto, take some photos, do some investigation, research, etc. Goldie, how long do you think it took New Horizons to reach Pluto?
Actually, I don't know. Like, wait, when was it launched?
2006.
Trick question. It still hasn't reached Pluto yet.
Okay, you think it's still en route?
Yeah.
Okay. It actually took 9.5 years.
Oh, oops.
But it
Goldie is not always right, guys. So I just want to say when we're on the GammaRay Report, the hashtag Goldie is always right does not count here.
So yeah, New Horizons launched from Cape Canaveral in 2006, and its mission was to do some investigation into some of our outermost planets, Pluto being one of them. And it took 9.5 years, which is actually according to plan, so it was on plan. I wonder if this is correct, because this is on Wikipedia, but elapsed time, 20 years. 4 months and 20 days so far. But it took some great photos of Pluto. I'm actually going to show one that I pulled up.
So can you explain why this New Horizons satellite is important and why you're talking about it right now?
Yes. The reason, sorry, I lost my screen, but the reason why it's important is because the person, Clyde Tombaugh, the astronomer who discovered Pluto, so he actually died at the age of 90 in 1997, and he was cremated. But a small portion of his ashes was actually placed on the New Horizons spacecraft.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so it was, his remains are traveling through space as we speak.
And they went by Pluto.
Pluto, yeah. And the ashes were placed inside of a container on New Horizons. And there was actually an inscription in the container. So let me just share this other tab now. So there was a container inside New Horizons with the inscription, "Interred herein are remains of American Clyde W. Tombaugh, discoverer of Pluto and the solar system's third zone. Adele and Muron's boy, Patricia's husband, Annette and Eldon's father, astronomer, teacher, punster, and friend, Clyde W. Tombaugh, 1906 to 1997." Ooh, I just got shivers. How cool is that?
That is really cool. Oh my gosh. Not a lot of people like have like the opportunity to have their like ashes um sent into space.
Yeah. Well,
Could you
not only,
imagine? Like,
well,
what if like some alien plant, like alien civilization finds his ashes and then they clone him and he comes back to life? That would be so cool.
that would be cool. Yeah, I guess. Sure. So I just want to share actually a photo of one of the um, from the New Horizons mission. So this is actually Pluto. And do you know what the other guy is in the back there, Baldy?
Is that Eros?
No, good guess, but no. So that's Sharon, which is
Sharon. There's a
yeah,
planet named Sharon?
yeah. Well, I think that's how you pronounce it. I
Wait.
actually, that's a good question. That's how I've always pronounced it. It's a moon. It's a moon. It's not a planet.
Oh, sorry. Planet.
Yeah, but it's
How is it spelled?
uh please hold.
You know what? So one of the ways that like I try to like I figure out like pronunciations of things when I don't know is I'll just put it in Chat GPT and I'll be like, how do you pronounce whatever? And then it'll like just tell
Okay,
me.
so
And
I guess it could be Charon,
Charon,
but I would like
Charon. You
Sharon.
know what? I like Sharon. Let's go with Sharon. You know what? I actually know Sharon and she's fantastic. So
Okay,
you know
amazing.
what? We're just gonna go with Sharon.
Let's go Sharon. Okay. Sure. Wait, actually, oh, I think we're wrong. Hold on. According
Oh
that
no.
looks like a hard K,
Oh
right?
no, is it Karen?
Caron. Oh, maybe Sharon could be our thing. Who knows? That's fine.
You know what?
Potato, right?
I need to chat GPT this now. Now, like
Well,
my
we have the
brain
answer
needs
on.
to know how do
No, it's right here. Look.
oh Charon.
Yeah,
Okay, Charon. Okay.
Caron.
Charon.
Yeah.
No, but it says or
Oh, or
Sharon.
Sharon?
See,
Oh,
you were right. Sharon is
okay.
right.
Let's go with Sharon.
We're going with
One
Sharon.
of those, yeah, potato things. Could be one or the other. We'll go with Sharon. I like that more.
I like Sharon.
Let's go
Sharon
Sharon.
is more like personable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was the documentary, folks. And I guess in terms of what I think, maybe
Oh, wait. Sorry.
did you just kick me out?
No, I went to the different screen
Okay.
but because you were kicked out earlier, you're the okay, so all right, go back to that was the documentary. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that was the documentary. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. But in terms of, my thoughts around Pluto being a planet or not, I just because of some of the facts that we spoke about in terms of definition, I would personally lean more towards aligning with the definition of dwarf planet. So not to say it's not a planet, but I think the definition of dwarf planet makes more sense for Pluto. Again, not to discredit or demote anything about Pluto. I think it's just as important as any of our other planets in the solar system. So I just want to make that very clear. But I think dwarf planet, just with everything we talked about and some of the other similar objects in our solar system, I think dwarf planet would be a better classification. And maybe all it is that we have to do is come up with additional classifications and terminology for how we define some of these planets. Oh my God, I just saw a comment that I love. So Scythe 4277 says Dwarf King. Yeah, Dwarf King.
I love that.
So Pluto, Hades, god of the underworld, Dwarf King. Love it.
Rose, I saw a few comments. People want to see more pictures of Pluto. So if you can, maybe if you can find a few more pictures of Pluto to share with us. And then, I'll give my thoughts in the meantime. So, the emotional person in me, given how I was raised and my childhood memories and all of that, Pluto's a planet. But then, the objective person in me, right? When I look at things objectively, based on what I saw in that documentary, it makes sense that Pluto is not a planet in the traditional sense, especially given that the documentary started with sharing 4 planets between Mars and Jupiter, but then those planets were, and I didn't know about the fact that those 4 planets were demoted, right? That's wild. I never learned that in space class whenever I took astronomy or whatever. But those planets were demoted because they were within the asteroid belt. And then now it's discovered that Pluto is in the outer asteroid belt. And then there's, asteroids.
Kuiper belt.
Yeah, the Kuiper belt. Yeah. So, objectively, I would have to conclude and agree with you that based on what we're seeing, Pluto is not a planet in the traditional sense. But what I think would be interesting is, this was a very good documentary. If you can, maybe afterwards, when the live stream is done, if you can provide maybe a link or two to some documentaries that provide the alternative explanation, right? Because the guy said this is a very heated debate. So I'm wondering if there's documentaries out there that maybe are arguing for why Pluto is a planet. I don't know, right? But
that's a great question.
Yeah, I would be very interested to learn more about that. And then also the International Astronomer Union or whatever thing, and that vote, we need to dive into that.
Yes, absolutely. So our friend Matt is an astrophysicist, the guy who did the documentary that we watched, but maybe I need to find a perspective from a planetary scientist who would have potentially the other side of the equation.
Yeah, because you were mentioning that the planetary scientists were excluded from the vote, which is wild to me. You would think if someone is a planetary scientist, they would be included in the vote because they're literally studying the science of planets. I don't know.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, this is a beautiful color image of Pluto, captured by New Horizons, taken on July 13th, 2015. So
is that the actual color? What's the real color of Pluto? Do we know? I don't know. I'm just asking random questions, putting on a spot, but
I'm not sure about that. I'm curious. Let's see if anyone, this says, so this is the one I showed earlier. This is Pluto and Sharon composite enhanced color images. So I wonder what enhanced means, but the colors are slightly different here compared
to. So
that
was right. I just searched it, and yeah, so it says to the human eye, Pluto is predominantly a muddle of pale yellows, light grays, and dark reddish browns. So that NASA photo was actually accurate. Like that's what Pluto actually looks like color-wise.
Amazing. So this is called Mapping Pluto Broken Heart because it kind of looks like there's a heart on Pluto.
Oh.
So this is a very interesting one of New Horizons again. And oh, this one is Sharon / Charon, but we're gonna go with Sharon. So this was also captured in the flyby from New Horizons, but is you know how you said the like what's terrifying to you is the idea of rogue planets and how they're just kind of roaming around. I think what's more scary to me is New Horizons that's just flying out in space for the rest of eternity potentially. So I think that's
That what that is like.
what's yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, look, this is the heart.
Oh, it's so cute. It's like a little broken heart. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that was all I had for tonight, Goldie. I hope you enjoyed that and I hope we all learned something new today and you have a lot of fans on your channel who are very passionate about Pluto and I hope they learned something new today and we could always continue the conversation in the comments and posts and in the next live stream.
Yeah, you mean I really enjoyed this and I definitely learned something new. Like I purposely made sure not to do any research or look anything up prior to this live stream. Because usually for my own live streams, I'll do a lot of prep work. But I was like, I'm walking into this blind and I really enjoyed this. Thank you. Like this was such a nice, fun break from what I usually do. And I also really appreciate the fact that, there's someone like you, like you're literally like an aerospace engineering professional, you're like a science expert. And your skill and expertise is not to like have the answer to every question, but your skill and expertise is to find the answers and then you break it down into a way that even someone like me who has like no science background can understand. So I really appreciate that a lot because like that's a skill that a lot of people don't have, but you do it really well. And honestly, like the diagrams that you prepared, they were like I'm blown away. I've been live streaming for like 8 months and I still haven't created a single diagram that looks as professional as that. Like my diagrams is literally like stick figures with like maybe an arrow pointing at something. So like that was phenomenal. So impressed. And
Thank you. Thanks so
yeah,
much, Susie. And it's always, such a pleasure doing these with you. And thank you for kind of being my soundboard while I do these and asking questions and keeping our folks engaged. And it's a lot of fun doing these with you. So yeah, we'll come up with a topic for the next one. I have a lot of ideas of, what we could do, but I think we'll do another live stream in a couple days. And I'm going to work on creating maybe a more professional look, maybe, something nicer than what I have now. So stay tuned. That's, work in progress in the background. So, it's all a work in progress. So excited to continue.
your background is already way more professional than what my background was when I first started, as you fully well know. Guys, do you want to see like a little Easter egg? Can I share an Easter egg with all of you guys here?
I'm
Rose,
scared.
I think you're going to appreciate this. But so, guys, when I was first starting out my channel, and when it was still like baby Goldie, doing my own thing. Wait, let me pull up the playlist because this is gonna blow your mind, guys. It's gonna blow your mind. Wait, let me find what I'm looking for here. Um,
I'm so curious, but I'm also kind of scared. I don't know. I don't know
no,
what to expect.
wait, this isn't. Okay, you can sort of see it. Okay, you can sort of see it. Oh wait, let me see if I can find a different video.
Someone says, look, old blindy 5625 Roses adoption papers. No,
No, no.
those people.
No, it's not that. It's not that. I'm just trying to see if I can find it in the back. Okay, you can sort of see it. Okay, so guys, all right. I kind of have it, but not really. But let me share my screen. So, Rose, your background is phenomenal because, we all start from somewhere. And, back when I was starting my channel and my live stream, right? Like 8 months ago, this is what my background looked like. You know, there's my face, my expression, me talking politics, whatever. Oh, there's me drinking my tea, whatever. But look at the
And then they start.
wait, look at this corner here. Do you see that? So guys, that's an airplane. That's one of Rose's model airplanes. So in like my sort of, original background where I was just getting started, before I had my fancy setup and all the stuff behind me, I just kind of had like a bookshelf and my Iran flag, and then there's one of Rose's like model rockets. So there you go. Easter egg. Easter egg.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so cute. I brought a bunch of stuff over that I'm going to decorate my background with, and that is one of the things that you guys will soon hopefully see in my background as I kind of set everything up and put out my new equipment. And yeah, it's great that you started out with that, and it's gonna end up on mine. So
I love that.
cool.
And all that to say, like, we all start from somewhere. And one thing that I've learned is that people care more about authenticity and knowledge than about like how fancy your background is. Because there are so many people out there who have like all these fancy backgrounds, but when they talk, it's just garbage coming out of their mouths. But no, but you're genuine, you're authentic, and you're the real deal. You're able to explain all this stuff. So for me, it's someone who like I've always been, very passionate about science and technology, but like it's sort of beyond my comprehension. I really appreciate your ability and your skills to break it down into English and just explain it to the rest of us. So I really do appreciate that.
Thanks. That's very kind of you to say, but that's literally what I do when I watch your channel on Middle Eastern geopolitics. I, completely out of my realm, but that's why I watch you, to learn more about that and stay up to date on everything around that. So thank you.
That's why we watch you, for the same reason. Guys, make sure that you follow, like, and subscribe to Rose GammaRay and the GammaRay Report. Rose, so like what do you think the next topic is going to be? Well, first of all, when is your next live stream?
Yeah, I'm not sure yet, but definitely sometime this week, in the next couple of days. I just want like maybe a day or two to hopefully set up the new room, and then we'll take it from there. But
fancy. Oh, wow, Rose is moving up in the world. Look at her all fancy pants, setting up the new room. I love that.
Right, so stay tuned, folks, and we'll be back soon, very shortly. And thank you, Goldie, and thank you to all the viewers. And yeah, it's been fun.
And let us know in the comments when the live stream is done. Do you think Pluto is a planet or not? Are you convinced or not?
For sure. And add also in the comments of the video if you have topics for what you want to see next, and we'll continue to add those to the list. And yeah, thanks everyone, and have a lovely night. It's been great spacing out with you. Bye.